Hello, my love, and welcome back. Today, we are diving into some powers of the subconscious connected to how it's speaking to you and signs and symbols, possibly past life connections. And I'm going to be sharing a bit from Dolores Cannon, one of her Convoluted Universe books from her series. These books are so powerful. They're some of my favorites regarding sharing her past life regressions, her quantum healing hypnosis technique, and some of the really, really cool, if that's the best way to describe it, like really profound, mind blowing shares that come through when her clients are in this state of being and this state of awareness. And I have had my handful of incredible experiences myself doing this work for the last few years, not only with what I have uncovered from my own subconscious, but from holding space and guiding clients through as well. And so I want to just like pull different pieces connected to a specific part that she was talking about that I revisited today in the Convoluted Universe book number 2, as well as tying in some experiences from personal and client sessions, I guess, and really wanting to share some powerful ways that you can understand your subconscious better. And I think that's where I want to start this episode because our subconscious is so unique and it has ways of communicating with each of us that is based on our own experiences and perceptions. And the simplest way I can put this is like you think of dream interpretation, and yes, you can like Google, and I'm guilty of this because I'm like a really vivid dreamer. So I remember years ago, I would be like, what does this thing mean? Or like, I dreamt about that. I gotta Google it and uncover what's the sign and what is this like symbolic for, right? You can totally Google that and get like a very generic answer of, a brown bear means this thing, or oh, you dreamt about a shark. Here's what that symbolizes, right? Um, you could get an understanding of it in a generic sense, and there might be something that's relevant from that to you. But the best way to understand what your dream is telling you or to interpret it would be to look at the symbology based on your own personal experiences. So a shark to me, like, I think sharks are really cool. So I don't really have a ton of fear around it. So it wouldn't necessarily represent the same kind of aggression or fear, or I'm pretty sure if I Googled it, it would tell me something about yeah, like an potentially explosive interaction coming up with a person, or like anger and these things coming to the surface that are going to be like scary and intense and I need to be prepared for. But like to my subconscious, a shark might represent something really cool, something I'm like really intrigued by. It might just represent like power or something like that, right? And to your subconscious, based on your current lived experience in this present body, as well as past life experiences, or we can even go as far as to say like parallel lives that are playing out at the same time, because time doesn't exist, so it could be past, present, future. The multi-dimensional spectrum of your subconscious. What does a shark represent to you? You might have a totally different interpretation. And so, this is where learning how to trust yourself is really, really important. It's truly no different than if you asked for advice uh, on business, for example, from someone who's never run the same kind of business, or someone who has but has a totally different personality than you would get so many different pieces of feedback that might not actually be the most relevant and dialed in for you. So, my personal methodology and like belief system is very much based around connecting you to your higher self and being able to trust your own inner wisdom, your own inner guidance, and your own compass for life, which comes from a deeper connection to source, a deeper connection to your soul essence and who you are. This is why, if you've ever done any of my free quantum healing hypnosis activations, or if you've ever worked with me or jumped inside one of my bundles, if you've ever experienced what I guide people through, it's very much open to interpretation for your subconscious to fill in the blanks. Because I never ever want to interfere with what is of your highest good. And I don't know what is of your highest good because I don't know your soul's contract or your greater mission. I don't know that. That's between you and the Creator. So, my goal is to guide you into uncovering that. And as I said, actually trusting it so that you can move forward and take the aligned action on your pathway. Okay? So, what this brings me to is that one of the parts of the convoluted universe, Dolores Cannon begins sharing about how the subconscious can speak through physical ailments and how the how do I want to say this? Like how underlying trauma or unresolved issues can manifest into your current moment. And I want to share a few of her examples and then I'll share a few of mine after. But the example she gave had to do with a past life trauma that then was playing out in this current lifetime for the person. And so they were having this health issue. They couldn't understand why, like, nothing really seemed to fix it. It wouldn't go away. And when she did the regression and connected into their subconscious, they were shown a previous lifetime where, this specific circumstance happened in relation to that part of their body, and the subconscious had held on to that, and it became a place for this issue to manifest here and now. Another example that was given had to do with a woman who had a lot of trauma in her womb and with birth and giving birth in other lifetimes. And so in this lifetime, she had a bunch of fibroids and like different things in her womb that were obviously causing a lot of health issues. And no matter what physical, medical practices were done, like it just didn't seem like anything could keep it away for good or for long term. And then it was through the regression and through healing in this alternate parallel reality. And when you're in the quantum field or that 0 point state where you're not attached to your 3D self and your mind and your beliefs of who you think you are, when you transcend that and you're in that place of being no one, no thing, being all, then you can shift that and heal that. And this client of hers, they did the quantum healing session, and then these fibroids began to heal naturally. Now, this is not to make claims and say this works 100% of the time, all the time. It's not to say that these are within someone's control necessarily always, because as I mentioned, soul contracts, the specific timelines we're meant to play out can come into play as well. But it's just to share that your subconscious is so powerful. And so if you are having any kind of physical ailment that's repeating, or persisting, is what I mean, or any kind of pattern that's repeating, then it's really important in my beliefs and my life experience to look at the subconscious and look at what might be playing out here and connected to that. Okay? Now, another example she touched on that I've seen with many, many clients has to do with weight gain and struggle to maintain the desired weight. And this is like 99% of the time related to unresolved trauma or a lack of safety in the body. And I've seen this with a handful of clients where they had experiences in the past, and actually, this is true for me too. I don't know why I didn't say that to begin with, but it was like slipping my mind. It's also like 2 in the morning and I should be asleep, but I just had a sudden burst of energy, so I'm recording this now. So if I'm all over the place, my sincere apologies. Um, but I've had this with clients, I've experienced this myself, where after being raped and having really traumatic experiences that made me not feel safe in my body, I also felt extremely unsafe to draw attention because I didn't feel like I could protect myself. I didn't feel like I could trust myself or trust other people. And unconsciously, I started to put on weight and I started to, like, my physical appearance actually shifted. And I would say it was very representative of my trauma, where it was almost like my light started to dim a little bit. And not only was I like taking different actions in terms of not even really trying with my appearance and wearing baggier clothes and things to cover up and like feel like I was drawing less attention, but I actually started to put on more weight. And it wasn't that I was eating any differently than I had been before that. I was pretty much eating the same, but my body started to put on extra weight as an unconscious mechanism for safety and protection. And I've seen this with clients as well, where it's like they don't feel that they can be their fullest, brightest expression of themselves, or there's a part of them that's afraid of having the attention. There's a part of them that feels unworthy of having the attention or unworthy of potentially having like multiple positive things going for them. If you grew up being taught to be incredibly humble and that it was bad to have nice things or to draw attention to yourself, or egotistical to look a certain way or to have XYZ, material items or a certain level of status, whatever kind of judgments were projected upon you as a child, your subconscious is still holding that. And this can go into past lifetime experiences as well. So if there was a different lifetime where you experienced some kind of intense trauma or that lack of safety, then sometimes I like to think of the subconscious as being a little bit stubborn. It kind of likes to hold on to things until we look at it. And truly, once we look at it and we sit with that emotion, or we breathe into that space and visualize it releasing, it will gladly let it go. Like, your subconscious isn't holding on to these things to cause you more pain or to intentionally make you suffer. It's not malice. It's not evil. It's not doing this to like get, get you or like make you pay. It's just the way that it's designed. to store information. So, a really beautiful example that's coming to mind from a client has to do with a past life vow. And this is actually a past life vow towards money, but it also came from a lack of safety, and it also created money blocks in her current life. And in this past life regression through quantum healing hypnosis, we were able to see a past life where it was kind of like medieval times, and she had this image. She was brought back to this memory with her family in this other lifetime, and they were out in the barn, and she had just come into some wealth in that lifetime. But then there was like all this intense fighting and greed and this huge blow up between all her family members. And it became this incredibly toxic and traumatic experience. And in that lifetime, she then made a vow and said, like, it's not safe for me to have more money because my whole family will implode, right? And that's what the subconscious took in. So in this lifetime, she was stuck in her business. No matter how hard she worked, no matter what strategy she tried, no matter what she was doing, she just kept hitting $1,000 or $2,000 months in her business. And she couldn't figure out why things couldn't get better. And she felt like she was trying to prove to her parents and her family, her siblings, her aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone, that she could do it. But there also was this underlying lack of safety around having more. And she couldn't figure out why there was this little bit of fear or resistance to making more money. And after uncovering this and clearing this from the subconscious and beginning to normalize, like regulating her nervous system to feel safe, to have money, and to feel safe that this pattern doesn't have to repeat, and that she can protect herself differently in this lifetime, and that even if the worst case scenario happened again, she would handle it differently. And basically preparing not only her subconscious, but her, yeah, mental, emotional, physical, and energetic body to receive more and hold more. Then within that month, she hit $10,000 in her business for the first time in like 3 years of running her business. And she sustained that for multiple months back to back because she had released that really strong hold that her subconscious was attached to. Okay? Um, it's so profound. And that brings me back. Remember, I said I'm really tired. So, okay, that brings me back to my own story where I started, which was because I felt so unsafe in my body, I started to put on extra weight. Um, a lot of parts of my appearance kind of looked very different than they do now. And it was because it was like an unconscious form of protection. And actually, as I started doing quantum healing work and I started working through the trauma from my experiences, and I started connecting to my inner masculine energy, really making peace with the masculine in general, and feeling this sense of inner stability, inner safety, this belief and deep inner knowing that I could actually protect myself, and that this kind of experience would not happen again because I knew I deserved better. I wouldn't be in the same situations. I would be able to speak up or fight back stronger. I would trust the intuitions and that inner divine feminine knowing beforehand. And I'd have that divine masculine support system, as I said, to like protect and kind of fight off. Like, I just was able to shift my whole consciousness around masculine energy in general and around that trauma. And my physical appearance started to shift very quickly. And as I said, my food choices, my diet, my exercise, none of it changed. But it was like internally, I felt safe to be vibrant. I felt safe to be pretty because I wasn't afraid that I would be taken advantage of. And I wasn't afraid that I'd be absolutely shattered and unsafe by drawing attention. So, any kind of physical manifestation can be traced back to something in the subconscious. But as I said, it's very unique to you. So, as you're listening to this, if there's a certain situation or pattern or health issue or belief system, something that's coming to mind for you that's been sticking around and you haven't been able to free yourself of it, regardless of if you've done quantum healing hypnosis before and if you've done this kind of work, you can spend some time sitting with this and reflecting on where this might actually be an unconscious form of protection. Because again, majority of the time, this is what's happening, is that your subconscious is trying to keep you safe. It doesn't want you to end up in the same kind of pain or negative experience. But in doing so, because it's also very literal, it ends up blocking you from some of the things you want, right? And this is where it becomes so important to realize you're worthy of the very best, because that's another deep program that really needs to get anchored in order to be able to show up at your fullest, be able to love all that you are, be able to receive and magnetize all the beautiful divine blessings that the Creator has for you. But if we are blocking it unconsciously or consciously, then it doesn't have space to come in. Okay? So I think I'm going to leave this here because I honestly don't even remember how I started this recording. And I've been talking for a handful of minutes. So just knowing that your subconscious is keeping the score, and this lifetime, past lifetimes, it's holding on to these different things. There are multiple ways you can access your subconscious, whether it's through deep breath work that helps you hit that state and uncover and unlock suppressed emotions or memories and release them. It can come through meditation and journaling and self-reflection. As I said, just sitting and looking at what might be attached to this that you're trying to keep yourself safe from, or you're trying to protect yourself. And then how can you sit with that and release those emotions, make peace with it? One of my favorite and the most simplest practices to do with that is, if you, let's say once you uncover it, is take a few deep breaths and notice where you feel it in your body. You might get a sensation, you might get an image, you might see, for example, like a color, or, sometimes I'll get like a weird shape of something by my shoulder or on my hip or attached to your body or your aura somewhere. Trust that, because that's what your subconscious is held. Just like I gave the example of the shark at the beginning, meaning something different to every person, a certain color or a certain shape or a certain image or something that flashes forward for you that has some kind of meaning to your subconscious, so there's no need to judge it or compare it or think there's a right or a wrong. The best thing to do is once you uncover that and you see, oh, yeah, there's this tightness in my stomach, in my gut, or oh, I see this kind of weird shape thing above my heart. Like, I don't know what it is, but that's what my subconscious is showing me. So take some deep breaths into it and just observe it and notice if it's attached to emotions. Do you feel sadness? Do you feel pain? Do you feel grief? Do you feel unworthiness? Typically, because I'm obviously talking about releasing heavy layers, there will be some heavy emotions attached to that. And these emotions are coming up to be witnessed so that they don't continue to manifest into the physical form. Everything is energetic first before it becomes physical. So we're tuning into the energetic to help release it before it becomes more of a physical manifestation. So breathe into that, feel the emotion, allow yourself to witness it, to release it. And as you let that emotion out through crying or shouting or saying things that needed to be said that were suppressed, allow yourself to exhale it out. Really seeing that it's releasing, and you can send it to God, you can send it to the universal field of energy, you can send it to Source, just inviting it to be transmuted and alchemized, but also inviting it to be released so that it's no longer attached to you and no longer a part of you. Like the easiest, quickest 5-minute practice or longer if you enjoy it like I do. But like just let yourself clear that out and then fill it with some love, some light, with some deep breaths and reminders that you're safe and you're held. You can thank it, and thank your subconscious for trying to protect you, but letting it know that you've got yourself now, that you can trust yourself to protect you and to, move forward without this. And just envisioning that shift and feeling how much lighter you feel afterwards. It is so profound. One of the most profound experiences, I would say. And again, doesn't require you having to go crazy deep into the quantum or into past lives or all these different layers. You can truly do it in a handful of minutes. And if you want to go deeper, then that is definitely where my different quantum healing hypnosis courses can come in handy, because I'm guiding you through many different styles of the meditation and the hypnosis work to connect to your energetic body, your emotional body, to release these things, these potentially trapped emotions or suppressed experiences, suppressed memories, um, really clearing out anything that's not serving your highest good, as well as so much of the work inside my bundles is about printing in the positive and printing in the desired reality, really connecting to your higher self and those future timelines, so that just like my client who went from the $1,000, $2,000 mark to the $10,000 mark in a month, just like we did with her, really normalizing and creating safety in her body around receiving more, trusting her ability to manage any family drama, or to see that the implosion wasn't going to repeat and that it was safe for her to bring in more. This is such an important part of the process, because otherwise it can be hard for us to hold things and sustain it long term unless we've energetically anchored in how deep it is, like how unified it is in our field as truly being a part of us, and really allowing your subconscious to see that yes, it's safe for me to be this way, to appear a certain way, or to have this level of health, or this relationship, this abundance. Really seeing that no matter what has happened in your current lifetime or in past lives, that you're safe now and that you can have the optimum experience, that you're worthy of it. So if you want to do that work deeper, I've got a, a handful, a handful of really amazing quantum healing hypnosis bundles, depending on what you're looking for. The link for that is down below. I've also got a bunch of free recordings and activations in case you're very new to that and you want to try it out first. Those are also linked below, and I have more coming very soon. So depending on when you're listening to this, just check that out because there will be a bunch more in the future. And yeah, I hope this was supportive. I hope this can help you in letting go of potentially anything that your subconscious is holding that might not even be relevant to who you are right now or where you're stepping into, where you're going, and giving you some guidance on how to let it go and move forward. So, with that said, it is now 2:30. So I'm sending you tons of love and I'm gonna go to sleep. And here's to your next big quantum leap. And yeah, enjoy exploring your subconscious. We'll talk soon.